Good afternoon, guys. I'm Chris, and welcome back to this Wednesday's episode of Rift Amps. The electrolytics finally came in for the high watt, so there was a delay on the one for the preamp, which is it's a dual section cap. One side is 16 microfarad, the other side is 32. So Tube Amp Doctor sells it, but it took a while for it to come in. So I've just finished up the recap on that, so I'll be able to get that fired up on the bench shortly. Q&A time then. Before we start, time for a quick another moan. And I hate doing these because, you know, it's not really what I want this channel to be about, but sometimes it is warranted, I guess. And I've had a customer yesterday phone me up inquiring about bringing his amplifier in for repair. And it seems to be quite an in-depth repair. He wants a lot of work doing, a lot of diagnostic stuff to figure out. So not a simple, you know, fit a new set of output valves and rebias. It's quite a lot. And I'm quite busy at the moment. I've got a lot of amplifier builds on the go. And I've got a lot of work in the repair queue already. Now, I always work on a first come, first serve basis. I don't do appointments, so I don't book a day that you bring your amp in and I work on it. I simply work on a case of, you need to get your amplifier here, it goes in the queue, and then I get to it when I get to it. And if that doesn't work for you, absolutely not a problem. Feel free to take it to another tech who might be less busy than I am. Won't be offended, completely understand. But for the more in-depth stuff, it's got to go in the queue. If you've got a gig coming up, i.e., you know, it's Friday afternoon and you're gigging on Saturday, and you know an output valve pops, by all means give me a call. If I can squeeze you in and we can quickly sort it, I'll always try and do that. But for more in-depth stuff, modification work, stuff like that, it's got to go in the queue. And if it's not here in the queue, I can't work on it. So, you know, you need to be prepared to leave stuff with me. Well, I told this information to this chap, and boy was he not happy. Apparently I'm a charlatan. Apparently I'm ripping people off. You know, people need their amplifiers quicker, and I need to get more staff in and do all this, and I'm not running my business properly and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, not my problem. You know, if your amplifier's gone down and you need it fixed quickly and I can't help you, as I said, take it elsewhere. But I'm certainly not going to drop somebody else's work who has been in the queue and waiting to prioritise you, especially if you're being rude. So it does happen. It's the dark side of this business, unfortunately, is customers who think that they are priority when they're not. The fairest way to do it, as I said, is first come, first served. And it's fair when everybody waits their turn and gets dealt with. And then when I am working on your amp, you're getting the time and focus that you deserve. You know, and he's the classic customer who doesn't understand that if he had waited and got to the front of the queue and somebody else rang me up and demanded that I work on their amp first, he would be the first one to complain that I wasn't, you know, that he was in the queue and that, you know, I should be working on his amp. So you just can't win. So yeah, I politely told him the rules and how I work. And if he wasn't happy with that, he's more than welcome to use another tech. You know, I've got enough work on. But I certainly won't be dealing with rudeness like that. But yeah, that's what happens. Some people. Makes me laugh. Makes me laugh. Anyway, on to the Q&A. Bob says, question. A friend of mine has several tube amps. I suggested he, say once a month, turn on each one for maybe 30 minutes or so to increase the filter cap life. Is this a valid thing to do? Uh, I mean, if you've got an amp and you're not turning it on to play it once a month, why have you got the amp? That's one way of looking at it, right? You know, if you're not playing a piece of gear, why have you got it? So you should be turning it on at least once a month, at least once a week, to be honest, to play it and enjoy it. And that's the way to look at it. But from a technical point, yes, it is always good to. I mean, well, I don't know if an electrolytic would really dry out if you know, after 30 days. No, it wouldn't happen. Long periods of time, months and months, maybe getting into the years, then yeah. But you know, if it's only a month or so, then that's fine. But yeah, I mean, the easiest thing to do is just play the bloody things. Midnight Hour, Chris. Midnight Hour says, sorry, hi Chris. I do like your positive spin on amp deficiencies and reticence to be negative. Well, thank you. However, when a large number of modern amps are being made cheaply and costs cut with cheapest capacitors, poor lead dress, and even loose sockets and pots from the factory, as in a certain big F manufacturer seems to be, I can understand why some techs would get fed up of 3 to 5 year old amps needing recaps. Why would a repair tech, whose job it is to repair stuff, moan about having to do repair work that earns them their income? Never understood that. You know, if all these amps are failing after 3 and 5 years, well, it's probably keeping those amps are keeping you in business. Do you know why? You know, a lot of our boutiques, you know, small boutique amp brands are in business, such as myself, because we're doing what the big businesses aren't. So, you know, I don't complain about those from that point of view, because of they're so awful, I can make a living, right? And it's the same on the repair side. You know, the Fender Blues Junior for a very long time paid the mortgage on my house. Right, single-handedly. I was doing so many of them. That was probably 8 or 9 years ago now. I had so many come through the door. So I don't complain about them at all. I always point out when things are unsafe. But these bigger manufacturers who, you know, it's always a race to the bottom for them. It has to be. That's capitalism, right? Improve your bottom line at all costs, because you've got to report things to your shareholders, you know. So I guess you'll always have that in any business. Got to find efficiencies and cost-saving measures. And you know, the thing is, take the Blues Junior for example. I bet you since they first launched that amp, they've managed to save easily $100 per amp on component costs and design and stuff. And when you're doing, you know, if you can save $100 per amp and you're doing, you know, 1,000 units every quarter, well, you know, that's a lot of money on your bottom line every month. And they only build them to last the warranty period. Once the warranty period is over for that particular unit, not their problem anymore. And if it goes down, the consumer's paying for it, and it's the repair tech that profits. So why repair techs moan about this stuff, I don't know. It's literally how you earn an income. Okay, Champ is all back together. So it's had a full service, a bit of a sort out, a couple of noisy components and bits and pieces changed. Unfortunately, the Mazda ECC83 was extremely noisy, so that's gone. Put a new 7025 in V1. The 6V6 still tested good, low noise. The 5Y3 still performing great, so they remain in the amplifier. I'll put the before and after FFT plots on the screen now. So you can see before and after, and they were both with treble and bass on 10, and then before, volume on 0, and then afterwards volume on 10, and you can see a significant reduction in noise in both scenarios. So this is good result for us. So I'm just going to run a loop through the amplifier, and you'll be able to hear what this thing sounds like. It's got the Jensen P8R Alnico reissue speaker in. Yeah, let's go. And there you go. While I think about it, the only other thing I had to do was thoroughly clean the switch out because it was still misbehaving. But that's now sorted. Really happy with that. Last thing for me to do is just to give the amplifier a quick clean, quick once over. A lot of people ask what I use to clean Tolex. It does depend on the condition, but for general cleaning, one of the best things you can use, quite simply, is baby wipes. Think about it. They are incredibly good at picking up dirt and grime, whilst also being incredibly gentle on the material itself. Yeah, so they work great. And you can just give this thing a wipe over. You'll be surprised the amount of dirt that comes off simply using baby wipe. And that's what I use to clean Tolex. Victor Eric Anderson says, what's the name of the app on the iPad? FFT Plot. I talked about it before. There are others. It's just the one that I use. No particular reason other than I like it and it seems to work great. I will put a link in the video description, but don't take it as being the best one. It's just the one that I prefer to use. There are others out there. It's just a quick and easy way to visualize what's going on. Because I can do a screen record or a screenshot, it's easy for me to show the customer before and afters, rather than have to take a photo of a spectrum analyzer or an oscilloscope. It's just easy to do. So it's great from that perspective. Yeah, FFT Plot works great. I'm sure there's more advanced versions. I'm sure there's easier versions, simpler versions, but it's just the one I like to use. And there we go then. All assembled, all ready to be boxed up and shipped. I don't know what I'm saying now. Shipped off to somewhere in America. So probably never see this amp again. It's a weird feeling, you know. Sometimes, like ones in the UK, there's a chance they'll come back for service in the future. But the ones that go overseas, the last time you see them. Funny that. So just need to make sure got all the paperwork ready for it. So certificate of authenticity, yeah. Need to do the instruction manual as well, and that can go with it. And get it boxed up. Need to get the foot switch, power cable, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, box it up and off it goes. Pick holder. Hello mate, says, hi, this is my take on custom amp pricing. If you agree a price with a client, then it should be honoured. On custom amps, absolutely agreed. When I have quoted for an amp build, I immediately purchased all of the parts with the deposit money. Sometimes the deposit would not cover it, so I funded the other percentage myself. If it took me 2 months to get to that build, it did not matter, as the parts were literally on the shelf in a box. As you say, prices never come down. If I was you, I would put a price guide on your website, then say accurate pricing on application. Yeah, for one-off custom builds, that's exactly how I do it. Customer contacts me, I'll put together a quote, not an estimate, a quote, and they can either approve that, and you know, I will honour that. But with models that are in my lineup that I build regularly, it's more difficult to do. As a small business, you simply can't buy parts one at a time. You know, for a whole amp's worth of parts in one go, or in one shot, as it were, because it's too expensive. It's too expensive to do it that way. You have to buy in bulk, but you have to balance the initial outlay of buying in bulk versus how many you expect to sell in the next 12 months, for example. So if I have an amplifier where I know I'll sell, you know, or take orders for, I don't know, let's say 12 in a year of a particular model, I know that I can go out and order 12, 13, 14, 15 transformer sets, 15 chassis, 15 speakers. And then I get the bulk pricing and availability for that. But if I have a model where, you know, I only take orders for 2 or 3 in a 12-month period, I'm not going to go out and buy 15 lots of that thing, because that means I'll be sitting on those parts and the business will be therefore sitting on that debt for a good number of years, and small businesses can't afford to do that. I'd love to have the capital in the bank and the buying power. Do you know how much cheaper my amplifiers would be if I could buy 100 things, you know, 100 transformer sets, 100 cabinets, 100 things at a time? I'd make so much more money, and it cost you guys a lot less. But as a small business, you don't have that buying power, nor can you afford to sit on that debt for that long. So it's always a balancing act, and you know, and so but I also do things like you know, those blank chassis that I buy in, I use across various models. It means I'm not buying or paying out for a single, you know, a certain chassis for one particular model. I can use it across the board, and it helps keep those things down. Things that I do use a lot of, like resistors, so 100k half-watt resistors, I buy in the ammo packs that are 5,000 at a time, because I know I'm going to use them. I use them every day, hundreds every day, or hundreds every week, sorry. And it's worth me buying that in full, because I'll go through them. But 10 meg resistors, for example, I bet you I only use 50 a year, so I'm not going to buy 5,000. It doesn't make financial sense. So yeah, it is tough. Things change, and the problem is, and this is what I don't think I explained quite well. in my little rant about the trade war, is that some suppliers don't guarantee you pricing until they get to you in the order queue. So I could order, let's say I place an order for 25 4 Henry chokes. Something that I use quite a lot. They might say at the moment the pricing is this, but when we actually come to build them, and when they buy the iron, when they buy the copper, and when they do the work, the price may change, and I have to pay that. I can't say, oh well, you quoted me this, because if their prices go up, they can simply say, well, they're not doing it, and therefore I have to follow that. So it's just the way it is. It's tricky, it's tricky. It's tough. You're at the whim of what's going on, So one of the prices that went up was speakers, and it's because the speakers are assembled in America, but the magnets come from China. So they're now paying huge tariffs coming in on magnets that they're using, which then immediately gets passed on to everyone else, So it's just insane, I mean, if it was a 3 or 4% tariff, it'd still hurt you in the pocket. But 25%? Are you mad? What? Crazy. So it's tough. Anyway, you also said, I'm also like you, a small business that is not having a great time at the moment. Well, I am sorry to hear that. I still get asked to do custom builds, but turn it down as I can make more money in the time needed for a new build doing repairs. Yeah, I get that. It's not as much fun, but sometimes business has to steer down different avenues. It's the way it is. You've got to react. I wish you all the best in what you decide, but I wish you all the best in what you do decide to do in your line. Well, yeah, thank you. I do appreciate that. It's just, every business has hurdles that you've got to jump over, or hoops you've got to jump through, or whatever it is. But this trade war is not a hurdle; it's a mountain. It's ridiculous. So we'll see how it goes. But I shall keep soldering on. Update on the AC30. Sorry there wasn't an update on this from Sunday's video. It's because I keep getting some false positive results, but it appears to have self-fixed itself, which I really don't like, because that doesn't exist. But remember, we had two EL84s that were red plating, where the other two were fine. When I removed them and switched sockets, there was still a little bit of red plating, but not near as bad as before. But the problem neither followed the valves or the sockets, which is always a good one. And I've yet to find or measure anything in here which is definitive. So I'm still working on it. I'm still getting my head around what's going on. I've briefly tested the coupling caps. So here's the feed, the green and the white wires that come through here. These are the two coupling caps to the output stage. Usually if one of those is leaking, you'll get bias issue on one side and not the other. But I'm still going through it. I'm still trying to work it out. But like I said, sometimes you get an answer, or you get a clue as to which diagnostic direction you need to go in. You take some other measurements, you go back, and that issue disappears or changes, or something goes on. So it's proven to be a little bit tricky, but I'm still working on it. And as soon as I get an answer that's definitive, I will let you guys know. Perilous Temple says, I look forward to how that trailer plug works in a year. Good hack that. Well, bad news on the trailer plug. I think there is... it worked, fixed it. Trailer board was working fine. Took the trailer out to move the race car around a bit, and I then got the error message on my dashboard because something's not quite right. So I've got to pull it all off and check the wiring. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but this time of year you get a lot of field mice coming out the fields, coming out of hibernation, that sort of thing. I found some wiring damage in the engine bay of the van, so I've had to fix that, where a mouse had chewed it. So it could be that I've got another issue downstream in the trailer as well, where somebody's had some lunch on my 12-volt wiring. Mike Baxter, channel member. Hi, Mike. Says, happy to keep supporting what you do and your wonderful channel. Hang in there, Chris. Big love all the way from Australia. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. I love all of my viewers. I love all of my channel members. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. You all know I really appreciate it. This channel is different to all the other Tech channels. I do it in the workshop diary vlog format. Hopefully it's something different for you guys. I try and keep it as jargon free as possible. Not always possible, because we are talking about technical subjects sometimes, but yeah, I'm glad you get something out of it. I'm glad you enjoy it, and I really appreciate the support. It's pretty much guaranteed that any idea you think of or discover has been done before. So do you remember I've been messing around with mismatched valves, output valves? Well, apparently the car Telstar already does that. It uses an EL84 on one side and a 6L6 on the other in push-pull cathode bias, apparently. So Mr. Carr's already done it. Good for him. Love that. So if anyone who lives near me, or near the workshop I should say, has got a car Telstar, wouldn't mind me having a snoop around inside, because I'm really interested to find out just how mismatched, or actually how matched, he's got both of those in that circuit. Because I'm interested to know whether he's deliberately running them mismatched, or the way he's getting away with it is that they are actually surprisingly closely matched at idle. But I would like to see what happens if that's the case, whether they do mismatch when it's overdriven or just driven. So yeah, if anyone's got a car Telstar, do let me know, because I would like to spend an hour with it just to understand what's going on, to see if the design direction that I was thinking of going down, or at least the test direction, is the same that he went down. Always interested to see how these things develop. So yeah, very cool, very interesting. But yeah, whenever you think you've discovered something new, as always, someone else has done it. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions down below. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. We are now starting to creep up on 6,000 subscribers. If you're feeling super generous and you want to support the channel financially, you can do like these guys have. And I will catch you all at the next one. So, sun is out. It's sunny again. We've got 3 days of blue sky weather predicted. And Thursday is the official start of spring, which I am looking forward to, because for me, spring means race season. Yeah, looking forward to that. I'm doing a full suspension refresh on the front of the car. So all new arms, bushes, ball joints, track rod ends. The front dampers have been serviced, so they went back to the manufacturer for service and sort out. So got a lot of work to do. I'm currently now, 6 weeks away from my first race of the season, so we're getting there, getting close. Some of my friends have already been out racing, although it hasn't gone well for both of them. One of them had a rear wheel bearing failure whilst he was leading, So he DNF'd. First race of the season, he's DNF'd. And last weekend, I went to see other friends racing, and they had a clutch failure in qualifying. And because of the short period of time between qualifying and the race, because of the day schedule, one, they couldn't get a clutch. I mean, why they didn't have one on the van, I don't know. Always carry a spare clutch. But even if they did have one, they didn't have enough time to do a clutch job on the car. So that's, they spent the money. You don't get a refund if you don't turn up or you can't enter. So they've lost their money and they didn't get the race, which was a shame, because it was looking fast in qualifying. They set some very competitive times. So yeah, I do feel a little bit sorry for them, because motorsport, unfortunately, either goes one of two ways. It's either the best thing in the world and you have the best time, or it's a massive kick in the nuts. There's no in between. And like last year, I had those 2 DNFs on the final lap, 2 races on the trot where I'm in the lead of the class and the car breaks down on the final lap.
Francis car continues to go around at reasonably high speed. There goes Fantana. So Fantana, I think, has managed to hold on to winning place. Oh, hang on, Richard Sutherland. No, Richard Sutherland got past the wall on the last lap. So Richard Sutherland got past Fantana and Adcock, because Fantana's car slowed. He's finished 3rd in class in the end, and Richard Sutherland, out of absolutely nowhere, came through to winning Class E. So
it's the worst thing. It's so heartbreaking, but you have to learn to deal with it, and you just get on, because if you sulk about it too much, then there's no point in turning up. You just got to deal with it, and it happens, and you just understand that it's either going to go horribly wrong or it's going to go really well. There's very rarely do you get something in between. So yeah, shame. Anyway, I've got lots of prep to do on the car. The engine side of it now is sorted, as you guys know, because it's had its pre-season dyno. So it's just chassis, suspension, brakes, nut and bolt check. Got to fit them in my new seat harness, because my one expired, so I've got a new harness to go in. What else have I got to do on the car? I've got a list. Something else I can't remember. A little bit of wiring repair, not repair, but preventative maintenance. I need to replace some connectors and things. So yeah, but we're getting there. We're getting close. Looking forward to it. And yeah, I'm sure I will film some stuff to show you, because you guys seem to really enjoy it.